Hi, hello. If you're here for my normal content expecting nerdy game stuff, sorry. If you're not here from that, hi, welcome. This is me crashing out about the state of the UK, basically. Um, and I know it's a while off yet, but as I see it, if anyone other than the Greens wins the next election, the UK is actually fucked. Because all we've seen from Labour so far is they are lurching further and further to the right in what can only assume is an aim to appease the Tories, and it just isn't working. Things with like the Online Safety Act, which was a well, technically it's a surveillance bill disguised as protecting the children, masterfully done, so that you can't really criticize it without sounding like you support children having access to pornography. Obviously, is not a good thing, but at the same time, like its primary function is surveillance because children can just use a damn VPN. And it's 2025. Like, who doesn't use VPNs these days? And like things like the digital ID schemes, which they are bringing in, I think it's like a couple of billion quid they're spending on something that is major security risk, major privacy concerns, all sorts of issues with it. And it's not even getting started on, you know, recently, right? The revocation of the right to trial by jury. That is, I know it's still in place for most serious crimes, but the right to a trial by jury was enshrined in the Magna fucking Carta. It's been a law in this country for over 800 years at this point, and it's fucking ridiculous that Labour see it fit to repeal that, which it's utterly bonkers. And the way they treat migrants, the way they not just talk about queer people like myself. I am technically part of the trans community, although I'd never describe myself as such. And the way Labour treat, people who are like, what to call it, like sort of actually trans or like what people would generally consider trans. Obviously, trans comes in many forms. There's no sort of right way or actual way to be transgender, as there's no right way to be any gender. The way Labour are treating transgender people and sort of queer communities in general is actually awful. And as I see it, like the only major political leader in the UK who is actually all out transphobes is Zach Polansky, leader of the Green Party. Is in his own words, transphobia, transphobes are not welcome in the Greens. And thank fuck for that, honestly, because we need someone who can actually respect that queer people exist. Because with the state of Labour, with the state of the Tories, the next election, assuming nothing drastic changes, which may well happen, the next election will more than likely be Farage versus Polanski, Reform versus Green. And let me tell you, Reform take charge, we are fucked even more royally. Because, do I need to tell you at this point? Farage wants to be UK's Trump. He's anti immigration. He thinks minimum wage is too high. He thinks workers have too many rights. He's a disgusting human being, basically. He's a racist, homophobic, transphobic bastard. And the worst part is, he doesn't even have a British passport. There's a Belgian passport for tax break purposes. And yet somehow the far right are so full of hate, so full of all of this crap, they just suck his dick, basically. They just drink it all up. Like, it's ridiculous behavior. And then, God knows the Lib Dems aren't going to do anything. They're centrist at best. And even then, the one time they actually took charge was in conjunction with the Tories. Plus, they, I don't know, they kind of seemed like a Labour light, to be honest. And yeah, this has just been a major crash out because I needed somewhere to crash out, and you know, figured why not let you all see it as well. I just struggle to see how people still think Labour is good. Keir Starmer is like any sort of conviction. I don't know how the international community still respects us, to be honest. Ever since Boris Johnson, even since David Cameron was all right. He called the Brexit vote, genuinely called the Brexit vote because he thought it'd fail, but and actually that didn't happen. So, and ever since he resigned, it's just been a downward spiral, to be honest. Johnson, well, we have Theresa May, I suppose, competent, and then Johnson, mm, Truss, Sunak, Starmer's a fucking clown as well. It's so depressing that, like, the slogan "Make hope normal again" is genuinely a valid thing. Is genuinely like a convincing argument because it shouldn't have to be. Hope should be normal. I should be able to wake up in the morning and feel good about the world. That as someone wants to go into astrophysics, particularly with Trump, the way he's cut NASA, if similar things start happening to the astrophysics industry in the UK, well, there's my lifeline out the drain. And it's given we know Farage want the UK's Trump basically, similar thing the UK's Trump and the UK's Putin. I wouldn't be shocked if he cut, space spending or education sector funding, funding to universities, funding for research grants and professors, which, is how a lot of academics make their money. Unless, Brian Cox or David Attenborough academic, not really. Like, unless you're like Brian Cox or one of those people who can sort of make a living off their own name, you do rely on, essentially, government and university funding for your work. And if Raj decides to cut that in, you know, placement for, defense spending or anti-immigration spending or whatever, which we all know just go into his mate's pockets, then I think we lose a great cultural and historical institution in the UK. And added to that, Gerard, I'd imagine, I can't remember exactly, but I'm fairly certain he rejects climate change. We need clean energy, and while yes, I disagree with the Greens that I think nuclear power is the way forward, I kind of respect their logic, and it's not worth not voting for them over because all I want is a government that stands up for trans people and queer people in general, government that realizes the importance of clean energy, government that just generally treats people with fucking dignity and fucking respect. Because honest to God, that should not be like that should not be something I have to ask for. That it's ridiculous that rights that were enshrined to us in the Magna Carta and signed by a bunch of Ponzi pricks to us 800 years ago are now being stripped away by a government that brands itself in Labour, brands itself on being a party of the people. It's Labour was founded as the Workers' Party, and now it is slowly, or not even slowly, just surely becoming more and more of exactly what the right want Labour to be. It's essentially a lesser version of the right. It Yeah, I'm done. I I've had my crash out. Enjoy. Bye. um, See you another time for more regularly scheduled upbeat gaming content, I guess.